Good afternoon from the Namoli Family Athletic and Intramural Complex on the grounds of the University of Tampa campus. I'm Bruce Wozniak along with Connor Moore here to call the action for you today between the number 9 Tampa Spartans and the visiting Assumption Greyhounds. Both teams playing 500 lacrosse thus far in 2019 and both coming off of defeats. UT at 2-2, Assumption at 1-1. And Connor, a beautiful day, 80-degree game time temperature as play is already underway here. You see UT going right to left, wearing all white with the red helmets. Assumption in their blue jerseys with black shorts and white helmets.
The 9th-ranked Spartans look to avenge a loss to Adelphi. The Greyhounds actually lost to Adelphi all the way back on February 16th, so that's one commonality between the two teams. Assumption, the Greyhounds scored 34 goals in their last game. It was an offensive clinic as that one hits the pipe and will bounce towards midfield.
Yeah, amazing, 34 goals. That's one of those do not adjust your sets. I had to look twice myself at the score of that one. And needless to say, they hope for a big rebound from that one today here against UT. A lot of momentum when you score 34 goals. You'd love to come back and rebound with another tremendous performance, especially against a ranked team like UT. And so obviously they'd love to build off of that last victory.
Spartans off to a strong start, not even 80 seconds in, already 2 shots on goal, and goaltender Colby Hamway, the senior, gives up 13 a game, is already busy in net.
And meanwhile, at the other end of the field, it's B.J. Borowski, who we saw get the start the other night for UT against Adelphi, and ended up getting pulled in favor of Brian Karn. As UT in a different position from Assumption, UT needing to bounce back from their defeat and not, as I said, for Assumption, build on the momentum of the last game. They hope to leave that game in the archives and forget about what they did against Adelphi.
Absolutely. The Spartans had a few solid days of practice. In the meantime, looking sharp in the early goings of this game. Today's afternoon is officiated by Ed Feaster, Michael Doyle, and Tom Fitzsimons.
And when you talk about that huge offensive output by Assumption in their last game, the name to hear this afternoon is going to be Travis Reed, who through 2 games has 15 goals and 12 assists for the Greyhounds.
He's definitely a gamer. Expect to see a lot of him. Spartans trying to get him out of a rhythm early, seeing some double teams when he gets the ball.
And meanwhile, this is Brett Jennings with it. Josky, he can't get the rebound, but UT able to chase it down, and Luke Robidoux comes out of the pack and crosses midfield as UT takes it the other way. Has a pass over for Mazza, is dropped, he picks it back up. Mazza, flip pass inside, Jake Mosher-McGraw, and a kick save there. Nice stop by Colby Hamway, and it goes out of play. UT will retain possession and put it back in on the far side of the field in the person of Colin White.
Neither team has scored in the first 2.5 minutes. Do not expect that to remain. Both goaltenders are busy and active right now, but both have made a few solid saves to keep their team in check.
And obviously a comparison to the Adelphi game the other day when we saw Adelphi score 7 seconds in and then UT replied exactly 2 minutes later. In this case, it's UT looking for the first goal of the game as they have possession now up top with Luke Curran. Sends a pass over, Kansai Gary. Gary working on his check. A nice pass inside is missed, and a ground ball. Who's going to come out of it? 5 of them chase it down, and no call made there as Jake Levine throws his hands up, exasperated. The official not going to fall for that as play carries on. Assumption with it now, and both teams making changes personnel-wise. Holding it right now and waiting for those to complete is Mike Leonard for Assumption, who comes here all the way from Worcester, Massachusetts, and a program that's been around since way back in 1975 when they started as a club sport.
Both teams already have 3 shots on goal, and we're 4 minutes in. Transition offense going to play a key factor today.
This is Adam Becker. His pass in behind the net. Now they'll pop it out on the other side. Dropped, picked right back up quickly by Leonard. Leonard tries to step around his check. That's Chris Cox defensively for UT. And on the move now, Anthony D'Angelo makes a pass over. They send it into the corner. It's Trevor Kennedy in behind Borowski. Starts his move, sends a pass way up top. Long shot coming, scores! Adam Becker with the goal. And Assumption takes the 1-0 lead 4 minutes and 19 seconds into this game with a long shot that we saw UT beaten by extensively by Adelphi the other day.
That's quality offense right there, going in and out, getting a look. Took the eyes of Borowski off for a split second, which allowed the cutting and an effective Becker to make a lunging effort from straight away and a primetime play. First on the board are the Greyhounds.
Ross Dickerson for UT stepping in for this face-off against, I believe, Connor Reed. Indeed, that's number 20 for the Greyhounds, and they both kick at it. And coming away with it is Connor Reed, and he breaks down the left side of the field and now pulls out. And waits, he'll send a long pass. It's going to be missed. Trevor Kennedy chases it down, does get there in time, and sends it to Jennings.
You mentioned Trevor Kennedy. He's credited with the assist on the first goal.
And Jennings sends a pass in behind the net. Holding it, Travis Reed sends it over to the near side. Now they move it up quickly to Owen Peterson III. On the move now, Peterson has a lane, passes in the slot, and unable to be corralled by his teammate Dan Farrell. And the Spartans come out of the pack with it. Look out, some heavy pressure being applied there by Owen Peterson III, but the Spartans able to settle it down. No, a drop pass, and now Jack Tyrell picks it up and plays it to his goaltender Borowski. And UT on the move. Borowski wants it back, gets it way outside the restraining line, and it's going to be called against the Spartans. They'll turn it over. And one of the things that they need to work on from the other night, and again, one of those things that you don't want to spill over into this game. If you're Assumption, you want the offense to carry over, but for UT and a lot of those mental errors we saw, they don't want a repeat of that today.
Yeah, that's already the second turnover for the Spartans. The first one ended up costing them the first goal of the game.
And now Owen Peterson III on the move, slips, stays up, sends a pass back. They move it over now. The Greyhounds trying the far side of the zone, pass down low, and quickly out in front. Oh, a nice save made by Borowski on the shot by Dan Farrell. Borowski with the save, and then had to be quick on the rebound. And so UT will try to gain midfield as they were unable last time starting out of their own end, and they are successful this time as Hunter Van Horn.
Nifty work by Borowski in that. Even though he gave up a goal, it could easily be a 2 or 3 point deficit with the quality of shots that the Greyhounds are getting. So he has been keeping the Spartans in this game in the beginning stages.
Matt Vetter coming on the field along with Dom Mazza. That's Vetter with it now. Over to Mazza. Mazza on the near side sends it back for Vetter. Mazza is tied for third on UT in points with 9. They score! And the Spartans tie the score 7 minutes and 39 seconds into this first quarter. It's 1-1.
Had mentioned that Hamway was a magician for the first few minutes. There was nothing he could do on that stage. 3 Spartans colliding and a mismatch in the lane. I don't know where Assumption's defense was. Colin White with the goal. Grip it and rip it. Spartans tie it up.
White's 7th goal of the season. The Spartans on the second game of a 3-game homestand. And a good crowd here this afternoon. Looking to see something entirely different from what those here the other night against Adelphi saw. And the Spartans, let's see if they can build some momentum now, finally getting on the scoreboard as they have it in behind the Assumption net. Back there is Jake Levine, his pass over. And UT will send it back up top as Luke Curran handles it now. His pass over for Chris Cox. Chris Cox looking to go one-on-one. Trying to get around the defender, Mike Leonard. Cox still with it. And now a pass connecting there, and they send it quickly behind the Assumption net. On the move now, Kilkowski. On the goal line extended, a pass connects with Kansai Gary. Takes a shot, and that one's going to go out of play. And the Spartans will retain possession as Kilkowski will put it back in play. Harry Kilkowski, a freshman from Summit, New Jersey. and made his mark quickly here in the 2019 season in his debut. He already has 9 goals and 11 points through UT's first 4 games.
Yeah, he was one of the top recruits coming out of high school last year. Spartans glad to have gotten him, and he's proven worthy of his acquisition as we see a late flag come forward from Feaster. Let's see the call.
A second flag, too. The officials both on that one, and this coming at the 7:47 mark.
Getting back to the Adelphi game, the Spartans had 17 turnovers and 3 penalties. I'm sure if you can tell Coach Whipple that we're going to limit those numbers, he'll be more than happy and in good shape for the Greyhounds. Courtyard by Marriott, located at 3805 West Cypress, Tampa, is the official host hotel of the Spartans. When you visit, be sure to ask for the UT rate and you'll get huge savings. Courtyard by Marriott is simply refreshing. And Pizza Hut, if you're hungry for the big game, Pizza Hut is a proud supporter of UT Athletics. Call Pizza Hut today at 813-251-3399. Get pizza delivered right to your
a nice save there by Colby Hamway as UT working with the extra man. A 2-minute call against Adam Burns for Assumption, although the Greyhounds in possession right now.
A 60-second penalty on Burns, so Spartans will look to take advantage.
And the Greyhounds killing some clock here on this man-down situation. And they take it all the way in behind the UT net. That's Adam Becker. As the second UT defender comes over, they're trying to get the ball back, are the Spartans, as 2 of them chase it down. Jack Tyrell for UT, but able to get there first was Travis Reed for Assumption. Reed wants to get a shot, scores! Short-handed goal for the Greyhounds. There's still 49 seconds left on the penalty to Adam Burns, and they have taken a 2-1 lead with 6:01 to go here in the first quarter. How do you like that?
16th goal of the season for Reed, and we saw the spin cycle on display. Put the Spartans defense on skates, and at that point, Borowski, not much he could do. Greyhounds take a 2-1 lead at the 6:01 mark in the first period. You're listening on the Sunshine State Digital Network.
And that's a real shot in the arm for the Greyhounds, playing on the road here against a number 9 ranked Spartans team and getting a shorthanded goal.
Well, Bruce, I love these non-conference games because both of these teams have ambitions of the postseason, so they're not afraid to put this game on the schedule. And once you get into Sunshine State Conference play, Spartans will be prepared having this quality non-conference schedule.
And we'll have the face-off now as Ross Dickerson goes back to work for UT again, this time against Aiden Teft. The officials have a brief conversation with one another.
As Bruce stated, the goal by Travis was unassisted for Travis Reed.
And Dickerson wins that one cleanly, and quickly on the move now, Ronnie Scholl. And we're going to get a timeout called by the Spartans here as they still have 41 seconds to go on this man-up situation. So obviously, head coach Rory Whipple wants to make sure that they get a goal out of this.
Yeah, it's perfectly timed, the timeout. As you said, 41 seconds. Plenty of time to draw a play for perhaps one of your top offensive strikers. I look for perhaps Andrew Q. We haven't seen a whole lot of him thus far. When he gets the ball in his hands, he's dangerous. Are you thirsty? Grab a Pepsi. Pepsi's been bringing fun and refreshment to consumers for over 100 years. And Florida Orthopedic, did you know that our team has its own official orthopedic physicians? We'll give a big shout out to Dr. Seth Gasser and the Florida Orthopedic Institute and their sports medicine team for keeping the University of Tampa players safe and providing their athletic training services and medical care to our student athletes.
Connor, for these Assumption Greyhounds, I like that they're making lemonade out of lemons, in that being based up in Worcester, Massachusetts, obviously it's not weather that really is ideal for playing field lacrosse at this point in time. So they did open the season at Adelphi. They played a neutral site game at Waterbury, Connecticut against Felician, and now they've got 4 more road games until they finally have their home opener on Saturday, March 23rd. But it's a great opportunity to, as you said, not only take on a proven opponent like UT, but to do some, pardon the pun, some team building on the road and really bond with one another and move into the heart of the schedule when they're ready to come home on the 23rd against American International. So really taking advantage of this opportunity and saying we can't play at home, but that's okay. We'll take on whoever is on the schedule. And so far they're proving themselves here against UT in the early going. 9 minutes and 7 seconds in, they have a 2-1 lead.
Absolutely, and for those of you watching from a Greyhounds perspective, they base in the Northeast 10 Conference, quality lacrosse. However, like you're saying, they're not playing top 10 teams across the board like the Tampa Spartans.
UT back to work here following that timeout. 30 seconds left on the power play for the Spartans. Matt Vetter looking to shoot, passes over instead, and they move it quickly. Moshe McGraw back to Colin White. And here's Mazza with a shot, and Dom Mazza goes down, loses his stick in the process as the ball goes out, and the Spartans put it back into play. 15 seconds left now on the power play. Kilkowski, Moshe McGraw, now Mazza, pass over. Matt Vetter throws a pass in the slot, and they missed an opportunity there, did the Spartans, as the penalty expires. And so the Greyhounds not only successful in killing it off, but got that shorthanded goal along the way and in possession now.
And you see Coach Whipple go right to the bench, not happy with that pass at all. There was no angle. 2 Greyhound defenders there. Those are the passes the Spartans need to limit today.
Dan Farrell, his pass connects. And wanting to shoot from up top was Owen Peterson III. Thought better, and they move it in. And now there's a shot that goes high and out of play.
Yeah, well airmailed with that release.
Trevor Wilcox with that shot as the Greyhounds will put it back in from behind B.J. Borowski's right shoulder. And they'll send it back up top and start it with Owen Peterson III. And they quickly cycle it over to the near side of the field. Here comes Trevor Wilcox. Pass back up top, and now another shot coming, and that one will go out.
So the Spartans have 10 shots compared to the Greyhounds 7. However, 3 turnovers to only 1 are what is limiting the Spartans' ability to get down the field and give their attackers a chance to score.
And this is Dan Farrell against Moshe McGraw. Quick pass and a quick release on the shot taken there by Trevor Wilcox, out of play once again.
Give credit to the Spartans defense. Backs against the wall, head on a swivel, playing hard.
Ball is back in. And with it once again, Farrell. And a similar rotation from last time when they worked that perimeter for a shot from up top. And there's a long shot along the ground. Scores! B.J. Borowski bangs his fist on the field as they go 5-hole on him for the 3-1 lead with 3:56 to go.
Brett Jennings, the southpaw sidewinder, an unorthodox release, skips between the legs of Borowski. Good for the 3rd goal for Assumption. Comes at the 3:56 mark, and Ross Dickerson, don't want to say it's a pivotal face-off, but if you're a Spartan fan, really want to get a hold of this one, try to inch closer.
As he steps in against Connor Reed, face-off specialist in his senior year from Raynham, Massachusetts. And away they go. And Dickerson wins it back to really nobody in particular. And they have to battle now as Gavin Perry stepped in to try to pick up the ground ball. And possession is awarded to UT. And so Perry crosses midfield.
And we say it every game, Bruce, how important the 50-50 ground balls are in terms of these close games between premier competition.
Kilkowski being watched loosely back there by Tim Tierney. They send it over to the far side of the field. Up top now with Chris Cox. His pass over, Luke Curran. Curran starts his move. Curran looking for a screen, didn't get it, and a ground ball. They fight for it, and down goes Kanzai Gary, and they will call a push against Assumption, so possession goes to UT, and the Spartans move it quickly down into the Greyhounds end of the field. This is Kilkowski behind the net.
Spartans catch a break. Delayed whistle by Michael Doyle. They keep possession.
Chris Cox resets up top, plays a little catch with Luke Curran, looks to the other side, gives it to Kansai Gary. Gary on the move, puts his shoulder down. Gary, a nice defensive play there by Adam Becker. And does he cause a turnover? Let's see. There's a whistle as play stops with 2:48 to go here in the first quarter.
Two fortunate calls for the Spartans there, having a tight whistle right now, not letting them play in terms of physicality.
Jake Levine for the Spartans. Down low, that's Kilkowski. They'll try the near side with Luke Curran. Curran, let's see if he takes a run for it. No, passes this time. And they move it over to the far side. On the move now is Chris Cox. Cox can't get the angle that he wants, sends a pass behind the net, and Kilkowski will try it. Kilkowski immediately behind the goal, able to hang on. And here's a move now by Ronnie Scholl. And a ground ball, and let's see who gets it. This time it is Assumption. And they quickly cross midfield across the UT line. That's Adam Becker. He was bumped. And now Darren Farrell will hold on to it. Farrell sends a pass down to Travis Reed. Reed, a pass over on the far side of the field. That's Trevor Kennedy. And sends it up top with Anthony D'Angelo.
Assumption going to work some clock here. Saw 55 on the shot clock.
Jason Hughes on the move. Chased down by Kansai Gary, who falls down himself. Quick passing. And calling for it and getting it, takes a shot, hit the goalpost. That was Jason Hughes. And now a ground ball at the opposite end. And it's chased down and picked up by Adam Burns for the Greyhounds as the clock is down to 1:22 here in this first quarter. And the visiting Assumption Greyhounds leading 3-1. And they're going to call a timeout. They catch their breath and set for the final 1:15 of this first quarter.
Guy Burden takes the timeout with 75 seconds left in the first period. Bruce, I want to ask you, since I see a lot of local level programs here supporting the Spartans, you've been around the game for a long time. How imperative is it for the Spartans? They do a great job in the community in terms of reaching out, keeping the young players into it. I used to play in my younger days. It's a great game. Stay with it for those younger fans out there.
Well, and credit to U.S. Lacrosse, the national program, as well as to the NCAA, and yes, to the Spartans. The game is just, it's been so great to see the sport of lacrosse booming for years and years here in the state of Florida, and more specifically in the Tampa Bay area. And it does trickle down from the national level with programs that U.S. Lacrosse has, and of course the great job that the NCAA does in promoting all their sports, and specifically lacrosse. Obviously the addition of the women's program here a few years ago, and it's great when you see the young kids in the community. Some of them have hockey sticks, but a lot of them have lacrosse sticks.
Yeah, and in part to that, I see a lot of other teams. See some of the tennis players, rowing is here, some of the basketball players, softball, baseball, cheering on their fellow Spartans. Of course, our Tampa volleyball team won the national championship in the fall, and our men and women start the Sunshine State Conference Tournament on Wednesday. The women will host Rollins College. The men will travel to Nova in 2 conference games as we resume play.
And that's a credit to the UT Athletics Department and all the coaches across the various programs, encouraging the student athletes to support one another. And you see that here at this afternoon's men's lacrosse game as Assumption, and now we're at 1 minute remaining. They score with 59.5 seconds left. Obviously the timeout paid off, and whatever was drawn up by head coach Guy Borden results in now a 4-1 Assumption lead.
Well, that's one of those instances, if you're a coach, you can't help but have a big grin after that, because everyone looks to you. What did you draw up in that 5 seconds right there? Assumption takes a presumptuous 4-1 lead as we're now under 1 minute left in the first period. You're watching on the Sunshine State Digital Network, and we have a face-off right now, Bruce, for Dickerson.
And obviously, if you're Assumption coming in as the road team, you want to get that early lead. You want to get the Spartans back on their heels and take them off their game, playing at home and putting them in the uncomfortable position of having to play from behind, which maybe they scouted the Adelphi game here the other day, because that's what happened. It was 1-0 Adelphi. It was 1-1, and before you knew it, they blew it open. The Panthers were up 7-1.
Yeah, it was 8-3 at the end of the first period. Only 4-1 here. So the Spartans are more in it, relatively speaking, but a big possession here trying to get back in this game.
And that's Dom Mazza on the far side of the field, sends it up for Moshe McGraw. And so the Spartans, with only 30 seconds left in this first quarter, they look as though they're going to work for probably the last shot. and they'll keep an eye on the scoreboard, which is at the opposite end of the field from where they are right now. It's down to 15 seconds. And they'll look to move it inside. Moshe McGraw starts his move. Moshe McGraw puts his shoulder down, a pass inside, shot by Matt Vetter. That one goes out of play, and the Spartans will retain possession with 7.7 seconds left, and that's Kilkowski who's going to put it in, and does. Has Matt Vetter in front. Kilkowski keeps it himself, takes a bounce shot that misses, and they'll chase it down, but the clock will expire, and we reach the end of the first quarter with Assumption in the lead by 4-1.
It was the turnovers in the first period for the Spartans that allowed the Greyhounds to get so many looks in the interior of the Spartan defense. Taking a look at the statistics, 4 turnovers for Tampa, only 1 for Assumption. Tampa and Assumption both actually have 12 shots, 6 of which have been on goal for the Greyhounds. They've scored on 4, and the Spartans have gotten 2 of 5.
And if you'd told both coaches before the game that it would be 4-1 Greyhounds after the first quarter, obviously Guy Borden would say we'll take it, and for head coach Rory Whipple, he would say deja vu all over again. I hope not. I hope it's not going to be 4-1 against us at the end of the first, because as we talked about on the Adelphi broadcast the other day, where are my scorers? Who's going to step up? Who's going to be the one to get us back into this thing? And so you start thinking, as you mentioned, about the Andrew Q's of the world, and you say, how can we only have 1 goal at the end of 1 quarter of play? Even now, all of a sudden, it's a good news, bad news for Kilkowski to start off the way he did in the first couple games. Now there's the pressure he's going to be looked to as, okay, when is Kilkowski going to step for us? And of course, you mentioned the other night on the Adelphi broadcast, no Brian Wright.
Yeah, a lot of new faces for the Spartans, so I know that Coach Whipple is encouraging the vast majority of the team, hey, this is anybody's time to step up right now. We've only mustered 1 goal in the first 15 minutes. However, there's 45 minutes left to play. A lot of lacrosse to go.
And of course, there's also a veteran such as Matt Vetter, who is a senior. He's currently 3rd on the team in goals with 8. As the teams, of course, have changed ends here for the second quarter. UT now going left to right, as we see Dickerson getting set for the Spartans against Connor Reed. And that's one statistic that UT did come out ahead in that first quarter. They won 5 of 6 faceoffs, but of course it's what you do with those possessions. Is do you convert those? Otherwise the statistic means absolutely nothing. And let's see on this faceoff to start the second quarter, 4 of them battle for the ground ball.
Spartans will take it.
And that will be Gavin Perry who puts it into play for UT. And he leaves it now for Jake Moshe McGraw. Now on the move, that is Matt Vetter. Vetter sends it behind the net. Kilkowski back there. Kilkowski starts his move. Kilkowski goes back the other way, now comes back once again. Pass right in front and misses, and it's chased down. And the Spartans able to get there first as Moshe McGraw takes it in behind the Assumption net. Being bumped there by Mike Leonard. Moshe McGraw on the move, switches hands, sends a pass that connects, and a shot. Nice save made there by Colby Hamway on Jake Levine, and he's able to hold on. The Greyhounds will start back the other way as Adam Burns sends a pass up ahead that connects with Owen Peterson III. 2 defenders on him. Peterson motors the other way and now sends a pass safely up ahead to Tim Tierney. Pushes it up to the far corner and quickly behind the UT net. And here's Trevor Kennedy. Kennedy being watched by Cormac McCarthy, and it's Peterson again. Peterson over to Brett Jennings. Jennings looks to his right, has Trevor Wilcox, gives it to him. Wilcox with a little burst of speed and drops a pass back. Now quickly a pass connects, and give credit, save made there, give credit to Cormac McCarthy for having good defensive position that at least made the shooter think twice and have to wait for a better position before we saw the save made there by Borowski as UT breaks back the other way. Score! Jake Moshe McGraw from downtown caught Assumption off guard. I don't think anybody, including the goaltender Hamway, was ready for that shot, and UT finally gets back in the goal column. It's 4-2.
Gribbit Jake Mosher McGraw. That could be the spark that the Spartans needed, getting back on Hamway, who gave up the goal. He has 447 career saves. My goodness, what a career for the senior Greyhound keeper.
Jake Mosher McGraw with his 5th goal of the season. Comes exactly 2 minutes into the second quarter. And make no mistake, the umbrellas are out in full force here this afternoon with that sun beating down on this field as Borowski makes a save that's very important if UT is going to build off of that second goal.
Well, Bruce, we actually had a quick substitution. We have Brian Carnan who is out there for Borowski, so we're seeing Coach Whipple not afraid to go to the bench. We saw that in the Delphi game, showing, I guess, something was not pleasing Coach Whipple from Borowski, but Karn made a terrific save, and he could be maybe one of the players that helps get the Spartans going.
Well, and it's not a stretch. I mean, Brian Karn is a senior. We've seen him play over the last few years here in West Central Florida, and indeed, obviously Coach Whipple feeling that his team needs some sort of shot in the arm that they're not getting offensively right now. So you start with the goaltending change and hope that it makes its way forward as UT has it down in the Assumption end of the field. That's Kansai Gary. His pass now to Levine. And Jake Levine, as UT is going to make a change. Both Kansai Gary and Chris Cox go off. Jake Mosher McGraw steps on, as does Dom Mazza. That's Mazza with the ball right now. Mazza looking to go one-on-one there with Adam Becker.
Bruce, we're seeing numerous cutters for the Spartans looking to catch the Greyhound defenders out of position.
This is Matt Vetter. Vetter trying to duck under a check. Vetter still with it, takes a shot, and that one's going to go out of play as it went wide of goaltender Colby Hamway.
Outstanding perimeter defense by Anthony D'Angelo, the sophomore from Grafton, Massachusetts.
UT puts it back in. Long shot coming. Scores! Dom Mazza from downtown. And it's 4-3 at the 3:39 mark. The Spartans, maybe the Brian Karn change in goal did result in some motivation as the Spartans scored 2 in a row to climb back within 1 of the visiting Greyhounds.
Dom Mazza leaving where he left off last game. He had 2 goals for the Spartans against Adelphi. That was a deep shot, as you said. Splash, and the Spartans down 4-3.
And once again, we'll see Connor Reed for Assumption go toe-to-toe with Ross Dickerson, and it pops out. And a call made there by the official on the spot against the Greyhounds. And so UT, the door open now as Kilkowski starts it in. His pass connects with Jake Levine on the far side of the field. Levine up top, and now this is Chris Cox over to Luke Curran. Curran quickly across the Greyhounds line. Curran puts his shoulder down and carries on all the way down in behind the net and sends it out on the other side. Chris Cox trying to get closer to the net, has to push it back to Kilkowski, and now with it, Colin White. They move it quickly. Luke Curran up top. Chris Cox on the far side. Cox gets by his check. Cox, a pass. And now here, well, you could tell that Kansai Gary wanted to shoot. He went down, and a ground ball. The official calls a push against the Greyhounds, and possession stays with UT. I think they thought the call was against them.
Yeah, both benches were pleading their case. However, the Spartans retain it.
Gary sends it over for Cox, over to Luke Curran.
Nearing 10 minutes in the second period, Spartans looking to orchestrate some offense.
Curran, some strong defense there from Trevor Wilcox. And Curran still with the ball. And now takes a shot. And I'll still tell you, credit Luke Curran anyways for not giving up, as possession does remain with the Spartans. And they put it in the person of Harry Kokowski. Takes a shot, and Hamway get a piece of that one. And possession still with UT.
It's been all Tampa here in the second period. They've scored 2 goals in the first 5 and change. And Assumption, they've been on the defensive side of the ball. The few looks they've gotten, Brian Karn, the senior, making the stops.
Kilkowski now for Chris Cox. Cox slowly makes his way towards the net and goes beyond the goal line extended, has to make the pass over, and now they send it in behind Hamway. This is Kilkowski going one-on-one. Kilkowski, no white shirts in front, and he holds on and sends it up top for Curran. Luke Curran takes a shot, hit the goalpost, and the rebound is picked up by the Greyhounds, and they start back. Adam Burns crosses midfield. Quickly up ahead goes Assumption, and Dan Farrell is going to settle it down as both teams make personnel changes. Out steps Brett Jennings for the visitors.
Man, oh man, it's a game of inches. We've seen several shots hit the pipe. Could easily be a different score.
Colin Buck to Kennedy, and now back to Buck once again. And here's Jennings. D'Angelo returns the favor to Jennings. They'll try the other side. And now Jennings gets it back again and sends it over for Buck. Buck on the far side of the field, a pass down low. And here's an opportunity, a shot that's going to go wide off the stick of Anthony D'Angelo.
Overshot that one by a mile. That one goes into the sky and will stay with the Greyhounds.
This is Dan Farrell being watched there by Robidoux. And now up top, and a tall pass, and it's dropped by D'Angelo, and UT able to recover. Hunter Van Horn quickly ahead. Van Horn on the run, crosses the Assumption line. Van Horn takes a bounce shot. That's going to go out of play, and it will remain Spartans ball. A reminder that at halftime, our broadcast, the audio will go silent. You will still see video on your screen. Do not adjust your viewing device. Just set a timer to be back in time for the call of the third quarter. As Matt Vetter has it now for UT. Sends it over for Mazza. Now this is Jake Moshe McGraw. Defensive switch. Moshe McGraw leaves a pass there. And a shot coming. That one hit the goalpost too. And it bounces way up in the air. And I wanted to say it takes a UT bounce. Nice play there to corral that one. Dom Mazza. And here's Matt Vetter with a spin move. Vetter scores!
And that's a highlight reel play all around by the Spartans. Dom Mazza snatches it in midair, makes a relay throw on the way to Vetter, and the rest is history. And the Spartans tie it 4-4.
So a tale of 2 quarters, or at least a quarter and a half, as Assumption outscored UT 4-1 in the first quarter. And so far here in the second, 3-0 in favor of the home team. And we're also going to get a call along the way as Vetter scored that goal, and immediately the official threw the yellow flag. And the Greyhounds all of a sudden find themselves in trouble, not only giving up a 3-goal lead.
We got a cross check there.
Penalty against Sean Laughlin. So the Greyhounds go from leading 4-1 to being tied 4-4, and now having to be a man short. And the Spartans control that face-off, and the field has definitely tipped in the favor of the home team as they're going to call a timeout here. And obviously Coach Rory Whipple wants to seize on that momentum and make sure that they come away with a power play goal this time. Keep in mind they give up a shorthanded goal when they were a man up before.
Well, the Spartans have amassed 22 shots, and we still have almost half of the second period left to go. 15 now for the Greyhounds. But as you said, Bruce, the team is playing quality lacrosse. The chemistry is on point. Crisp passes are being made around an unselfish play across the board. No one is out there taking all of the shots. The ball is moving side to side. And right now, Assumption's on the ropes. They got to make a play, because before, Hamway was just making incredible saves. He can't do it all game long. So someone on the defensive end has to step up to translate into offensive opportunities.
Well, and in an instance like this, if you're watching from a Greyhounds perspective, you say, well, maybe we need to make a goaltending change to see if it inspires our team offensively, just as we saw happen with UT. But on the flip side of it, while yes, 5 goaltenders have all seen minutes for the Greyhounds thus far this season. I have to imagine that since Colby Hamway has had the lion's share of the minutes, a lot of that was probably in mop-up time. Let's give the guys an opportunity to see the field who otherwise might not normally get in. I'm talking specifically about that 34-3 victory over Felician a week ago yesterday. So obviously they're going to stick with Colby Hamway. It's only 4-4. I'll flip it the other way and say it's not time to push the panic button, parentheses, yet, with a question mark after that.
And I think that Coach Guy Borden knows that the Spartans are not quite Felician in terms of easing to a win, so to speak. But we got a ball game right now. Bruce Wozniak, I'm Connor Moore here on the Sunshine State Digital Network. The Greyhounds and Spartans in an all-time clash, 4-4, two quality teams going head-to-head.
Vetter sends that one up top to Mazza. Back to Vetter again. And in behind the net, Hamway tried to intercept that one. The Spartans hold on and work the perimeter. No. They're going to go back the other way to Vetter again. And it's a save made there by Hamway with Kilkowski right on the doorstep. And Hamway needs a little help. 28 seconds left in the Greyhounds penalty. And UT pressing here, trying to get it back and take advantage of this man-up situation as Vetter takes a whack at Joe Del Rossi, not able to jar it loose. And that pass does connect with Travis Reed, and down to 10 seconds left in the penalty to Laughlin now. And quickly up ahead goes Trevor Kennedy, and Assumption is going to be successful. 2-1, and they're back at full strength. So a little shot in the arm there for the Greyhounds. They stem the tide after watching UT score 3 straight goals and tie it up. They're able to kill off the man down situation, and now they settle it in as this is Trevor Wilcox. 6 minutes, 10 seconds left in the second quarter, and Assumption on the run. That's Owen Peterson the third. He has to back up and pass in the slot, and do they turn it over? Yes. That's Luke Robidoux coming away with it for the Spartans. Plays it back to Brian Karn, who, as Connor mentioned, took over in the early stages of this second quarter for B.J. Borowski.
Spartans defense up in the Greyhounds' grill at the moment. This has been a defensive clinic for the Spartans. They have not allowed anything easy for Assumption.
Specifically for those of you keeping score at home, 1 minute 36 seconds into the second quarter is when the goaltending change was made for UT, and thus far Brian Karn has closed the door, and this is Chris Cox with it. Cox looking for just a little room to shoot, doesn't have the lane, gives it up instead, and now UT resets up top with Kansai Gary. Gary one-on-one steps around his check, a bounce shot, and that one's going to go out of play, and the Spartans retain possession as Kilkowski will put it back in, and does. Harry Kilkowski heads for immediately behind the net, is pushed down and pops back up. Tim Tierney knocked him down, and they'll reset way up top with Luke Curran. Curran trying to get a step on Mike Leonard. Gary quickly over to Chris Cox. Cox looking, sends a pass in front, scores! Nice goal by Colin White, Johnny on the doorstep. And the Spartans come all the way back from down 4-1 and have a 5-4 lead.
What a play. The Spartans, with the hesitation, no-look pass, and going and making a critical mistake, trying to get the steal in midair was Hamway, and catching it and having a wide open door was Colin White. That'll be one of the easier goals of his career. He did not have much to go up against, and the Spartans take the lead.
Now Colin White will take that all day long as he gets his second goal of the game and his 8th goal of the season. And amazing, Connor, as you mentioned, all this and still nothing from Andrew Q.
Yeah, it's amazing. It just speaks volumes to how deep and versatile the Spartans are in terms of play. And Chris Cox, he deserves a lot to do. He had the hesitation, no-look pass, and he set up Colin White for success.
And shame on me, it's this point in the game where I have to start looking on the sideline to see if Andrew Q is even dressed, because I haven't called his name yet at all. As UT has it in behind the Assumption net just below the scoreboard. Kilkowski putting it back in. Gives it for Dom Mazza. Moshe McGraw back to Mazza. Mazza on the move. A nice move. Takes a bounce shot and a save made there by Hamway. A great shot and an equally impressive save. And now I am looking on the sideline for number 42 for UT. And
nowhere to be found. So this could be one of those games the Spartans look to a new face, someone to step up, get a spot start, and take full advantage. Right now, if you're the Spartans up 5-4 with 3:43 left in the first half, you've completely dominated this period. Right now, the Greyhounds and Guy Borden, they're just trying to get into the locker room so they can catch a breather and start out the second half. If you're the Spartans, keep your foot on the gas pedal and expand on this lead.
Well, and quietly, if you're head coach Rory Whipple, you might be saying to yourself, okay, let's see how they do respond with no Andrew Q, with no Brian Wright. Let's see who takes it upon themselves to step up, unless you flip it the other way and you vocalize that to your team in the locker room and say, okay, guys, who wants to be the guy that we can turn to now without Andrew Q, without Brian Wright? Who's going to help us out? Who's going to contribute? You walk a fine line there in terms of sports psychology, because obviously you don't want someone to put the I in the word team and say it's going to be me. So it's playing out nicely so far, because UT has found a way to battle back from that 4-1 deficit after one quarter of play, and they've outscored Assumption. It bears repeating 4-0 thus far, and there's only 3:43 left here in the first half.
And Bruce, you bring up a terrific point. In terms of collegiate athletics in particular, there's no I in team. This is a perfect opportunity for the Spartans to build a championship team. No one comes into a season with all the pieces in place. They have to make them as the season progresses. And right now for Tampa, 5-4, non-conference action against a very talented Assumption team that can get going in a hurry. They will have to keep the energy up for the rest of this half to keep it alive.
And play resumes with the Greyhounds in possession. And a pass in behind the UT net. Now over on the far side, that's Trevor Wilcox. Wilcox up top to Brett Jennings. Jennings returns it over to Wilcox. And they'll try the near side. Peterson flips it to Trevor Kennedy. Kennedy heading to the near corner, being watched there by Gavin Perry. And quickly on the move now, Kennedy. Here's a pass and a shot coming, and doesn't even get through to Brian Karn off the stick of Brett Jennings, but the Greyhounds able to control the rebound, and they retain possession as Owen Peterson III has it up top, being watched there by McCarthy for UT.
And since Brian Karn has entered the game, the fluidity of the Greyhound offense has disappeared. I don't know what is the problem with that, but right now Assumption on the move.
And they
just
score.
Just to say that I jinxed it, and it's 5-5. Someone heard me down on the bench.
Trevor Wilcox gets the goal for the visitors, but it does take until the 12-17 mark of the second quarter for them to finally get back on the board, as Trevor Wilcox gets the goal to make it 5-5. And for Wilcox, that's his second goal of the game and his sixth of the season.
The junior from Somers, Massachusetts, and an East Catholic graduate ties us up at 5-5. And this has been a fun game to be a part of. I only can wonder what the second half will entail.
Ronnie Scholl with it now for UT. And Scholl, as UT making changes, Matt Vetter steps on and receives the pass, and Ronnie Scholl is going to go off. Dom Mazza just came out for the Spartans as well. And now up top, that's Matt Vetter, and Moshe McGraw sends it over for Mazza. Mazza daring the defender and wanted to flip a pass inside for Moshe McGraw, couldn't, and still holds on just inside the restraining line. Now on the move, there's a pass over from Colin White, and Matt Vetter tried to go top shelf on Hamway, but that one went out of bounds, so Kilkowski puts it right back into play. We're down to 1 minute and 49 seconds left here in the second quarter.
The Spartans have won 10 of 12 face-offs. It has been the defense stoppage of Hamway stopping 8 goals.
And Moshe McGraw's shot goes out of play. Again, right below the scoreboard to our right. And now this is Kilkowski being watched back there defensively by Adam Becker for the Greyhounds, and a nice spin move by Kilkowski. Pass there for Colin White. And with it now, Jake Levine to Moshe McGraw.
Colin White looking to get a hat trick maybe in the first half of play.
Kilkowski, his pass over. Colin White, and quickly up top. They want to take it from long range. You could tell Matt Vetter does, and it goes out of play once again.
69 seconds. Working the X is Colin White.
And there's a quick shot. Hits the side of the net. No, they score.
Delayed call, but Fitzsimons comes and gives us the goal.
And from this angle and from the actions of Colby Hamway, it did look like it hit the side of the net. And
well, you
as
can
you
see the
mentioned,
body language. Hamway got up right away, and it looked like he was, as you said, maybe trying to track down the ball, but no, he was just looking up into the clouds because he gave up the 6th goal of the game for Tampa with 61 seconds to go, and I don't know how that ball went in.
And as you mentioned, for whatever reason, a delayed call. But nonetheless, the Spartans able to regain the lead with 1 minute and 1 second left. And a reminder that when we do reach halftime, there will be no audio during that time period. You will still see video on your screen. Do not adjust your viewing device. Just set a timer at that point for 10 minutes to be back in time for the call of the third quarter.
Kevin McParland with the goal for Tampa, and now they take the lead.
So Assumption back to work here offensively. And with it now is Brett Jennings. Quickly they send it up top. Trevor Wilcox looking for some room to work.
Crucial defensive sequence by the Spartans. Look at Coach Whipple in a defensive stance. He wants this more than anything. Keep the lead going into the half.
And almost double team there. Owen Peterson the third, and now putting his shoulder down, looking to get a shot off Brett Jennings. Nice play defensively by the Spartans. Clock down to 13 seconds, and the Greyhounds need to work quickly if they're going to get one final shot. 8 seconds left now. They have it behind the net. A pass out in front. Here's a long shot coming. Nice save made by Brian Karn. Takes a long outlet pass, and that one's not going to connect. But the horn goes to end the first half of play with the Spartans in the lead, 6-5. Do set a timer for 10 minutes to be back on the other side of the break for the call of the third quarter.
Heads up, Bruce. That one bounced over the net and hit the scoreboard. We have a spectator tracking it down. Brian Karn with the Hail Mary. 6-5, Spartans going into the half.
Welcome back to the Nemoli Family Athletic and Intramural Complex on the grounds of the University of Tampa campus. I'm Bruce Wozniak along with Connor Moore as we get set for the second quarter of play. UT in the lead 6-5, and for the home team, 5 different goal scorers in that first half. Colin White had 2 goals to lead the way for UT, and then single tallies coming off the sticks of Harry Kilkowski, Matt Vetter, Dom Mazza, and Jake Mosher McGraw. And you see a quick whistle there on this face-off to start the second half. Possession awarded to UT, and on the other side, 5 goals for the visiting Greyhounds, and that coming from 4 different goal scorers. Leading the way with a pair is Trevor Wilcox, and then they've gotten single goals each from Travis Reed, as well as from Brett Jennings and from Adam Becker.
Key stat that stood out in the first half, 31 shots for Tampa, only 18 for Assumption. So the Spartans, they might be trending in the right direction. They have a lot of momentum right now as we prepare for the first stage of the third period.
Although, slightly disturbing if you're Coach Whipple, is that they had 31 shot attempts. Only 14 of them were on goal. So obviously he'd like to see a better percentage in that regard. And one stat that jumped out for me was UT all over faceoffs, winning 11 to just 3 for the Greyhounds as we're 1 minute into the third quarter. And there's a shot. Nice save made there by Colby Hamway.
9th save of the game by Hamway, but that was a beautifully drawn-up play by the Spartans. Give and go action, 1-2 punch, put it right on the money. But hey, sometimes the goalkeeper makes a heck of a save, and that's what we saw by Hamway.
And as a result of the shots that we just talked about, it's been a busy afternoon thus far for Colby Hamway, who's made 9 saves. And his Greyhounds teammates have it down in the UT end of the field now. And that's Travis Reed being watched by Jack Tyrell. And they have it way up top now, and they'll try the far side of the field. This is Owen Peterson III, has a step on his man, and now thinks otherwise and resets up top with Brett Jennings. And there's a shot taken by Trevor Wilcox that goes out of play.
Dan Farrell working the X behind the net for the Greyhounds. 13 minutes to go in the third. 6-5 Tampa.
And here's Farrell. They send it over to the opposite side of the field. And a pass in behind the UT net. That one, here's a shot coming. Nice save made by Brian Karn as he saw it all the way coming from Brett Jennings. And UT able to control. And they'll start back as Moshe McGraw, who I mentioned was one of the goal scorers in that first half. He holds and waits and now leaves it for Kansai Gary as Moshe McGraw will go off the field, and out steps Luke Curran. And they give it to Curran. Also joining him now, Chris Cox stepping on the field. Nice job by Cox to duck under the check, thrown at him by Trevor Wilcox. Shot, and Hamway made the save and didn't see where the rebound went. And now a ground ball. The Spartans are going to get there first, yes, although absorbing a check. Nice play there.
Jake Levine
kept in and kept alive. Kilkowski with it. Indeed, Jake Levine with some acrobatics as play carries on. Kilkowski, if he sees him, Levine is completely wide open here on this side of the field. And they'll take a shot and score! Kansai Gary says, I don't need it. And another flag flies following that goal, as we saw in the first half. And so Kansai Gary,
the senior from Sun Prairie, Wisconsin. You mentioned, Bruce, that flag. They're having a discussion right now. I think the Spartans are going to have another advantage coming up. 7-5 Tampa, 11:45 left in the third.
And we were talking in that first half about the absence of Andrew Q, not to mention Brian Wright. And so who's going to step up? Well, it's been a very, very balanced scoring attack now for head coach Rory Whipple's UT Spartans. As Kansai Gary gets in the goal parade, and a 2-minute check to the head penalty against Tim Tierney, the second 2-minute call against the Greyhounds in this game. And if you're head coach Guy Borden, that's kind of one of those throw the clipboard up in the air type of calls.
Yeah, now the Greyhounds really need to step up on defense because the Spartans, with this lethal attack, could add a few more goals, and this game could get out of hand in a hurry.
And by the way, if you're keeping score at home for Kansai Gary, that's his 4th goal of the season. As UT looking for more here with a power play. And it's up top now with Mazza over to Moshe McGraw. Matt Vetter now. Inside, scores! Top corner. Jake Levine buries the power play goal. And UT, a far different team from the one that trailed 4-1 at the end of the first quarter. They outscored Assumption 5-1 in the second quarter, and now here they are with 2 goals in the first 3 minutes and 46 seconds of this third quarter for an 8-5 lead.
Jake Levine, the southpaw goal-scoring machine, assists Matt Vetter, 8-5. Tampa, 11-14 left, and Tampa, they're on a very impressive run right now, dating back to the beginning of the second period. That Brian Carnes substitution seemed to be the magic button that Coach Whipple needed to storm the troops. Right now, they're taking full advantage. They were down 4-1 in the first period, 7-1 since.
And also, what a balanced attack from the category of who's going to step up. How about everybody's going to step up, because we've got 8 Spartans goals and 7 different goal scorers. And keep in mind that was a no-release penalty, meaning that Assumption is still down a man on that 2-minute call against Tim Tierney, and it still has 1:09 left on it.
And that's a fabulous point. The best type of lacrosse is where everyone gets involved, everyone gets in the action. We're seeing that Tampa on the run.
And UT quickly moving in here. They needed that resurgence of confidence. They needed to restore their confidence, I should say, after that defeat at the hands of Adelphi. And you can only use the fact that Adelphi was ranked number 2 in the country up until a point. And then it becomes accountability. And UT came out on the wrong end of a 19-11 decision there. And now there's a flag thrown on the far side of the field. And UT, I mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, in the second of a 3-game homestand. It will continue on Wednesday evening when they host North Greenville. So obviously they'd like to come away 2-1 on this homestand. Still a lot of lacrosse left here this afternoon, though, and I will credit Assumption by saying only a 3-goal lead for the Spartans right now. That flag still on the field. Obviously the call is going to be against the Spartans whenever they touch the ball.
Yeah, Spartans got a little too handsy that time. Heat check will go against Tampa, and now Assumption with the penalty coming off the board. They're at full strength. Here we go.
And a long shot coming and deflected off a Spartan, but the officials blow the play dead, as now the penalty will be assessed against UT, and this one comes 5 minutes 30 seconds into the third quarter, and the Greyhounds will say thank you very much as they look for an opportunity to get back into this game.
Well, this is only the first penalty for Tampa, and they did such a great job thus far keeping that tally off the board. They had 3 against Adelphi, and they came at crucial points in which Adelphi was able to strike for numerous goals. So the defense has to step up at this point. 1 minute slice is the call.
Colin White, the offender for the Spartans, so they hope that his slashing penalty won't come back to haunt them, because the Greyhounds go on the attack now, looking to get, they hope, their first goal of this third quarter. And a pass up top, and wanting to shoot was Jennings, made the pass over. Instead, a shot there that sails out of play off the stick of Trevor Kennedy. And still 29 seconds left in the slashing call against Colin White, as the Greyhounds will put it in from the near corner here. And with it is Dan Farrell up top. They move it back over to that other side. They seem to favor that side of the field and looking that way, and instead coming over here is Dan Farrell with it up top, and Wilcox sending it over to Jennings. Now quickly behind the net. Almost every Greyhound seemingly touching the ball in this possession, as we're down to just 8 seconds left in the slashing call against Colin White for the Spartans. In behind the UT net. Up top once again. Now it's over on the far side. Dropped. And the penalty expires.
The Spartans have done a fantastic job stopping the offensive prowess of Travis Reed. He had an absurd 7.5 goals per game coming into this one. He's only scored 1, and we're halfway through the third period.
And Brian Karn handles that one easily. Retreats behind his net. Waves his teammates on, and now sends a long pass up ahead that connects at midfield as Sam Collingwood takes it into the Greyhounds' end. And now on the far side of the field, Harry Kilkowski with it. Kilkowski up to Colin White, and they'll reset up top Hunter Van Horn for Luke Curran. Curran, as Van Horn's going to race off the field, and out steps Kansai Gary. One of 7 goal scorers for the Spartans this afternoon. Chris Cox with it now. Cox looking to go one-on-one against Peterson. That one connects with Luke Curran. I think it was intended for Gary, but the Spartans still in possession nonetheless. There's a pass down behind the net. Here's Kilkowski. Kilkowski being watched back there by Tim Tierney, pops out the other side and has to send a pass back up, and UT will reset as Gary sends it over for Luke Curran. Curran wants to go one-on-one, takes a shot, hit the crossbar, and they'll chase it down. Not in time. That one will go out of play, but still UT ball.
Now 5 shots off the crossbar, 3 for Tampa and 2 for Assumption. Wow, what a game. 8-5, 6:48 to go. Tampa continuing to dominate the field possession.
A fast-moving third quarter. And UT with the only 2 goals of this third quarter so far, as you see the ball bounce out of play on the far side of the field, and possession stays with the home team. Speaking of the home team, as I mentioned, the Spartans stay at home to wrap up this 3-game homestand when they take on North Greenville on Wednesday night at 7 p.m., although we will have the broadcast for you. If you're here in the West Central Florida area, do come out and support the team in person here at the Namoli Family Athletic and Intramural Complex. UT on the move here. Chris Cox with it. They send it in behind the net, and now they'll go to work as putting his shoulder down and having to give up was Colin White, and that's Cox being bumped. Pass in front, and a bad angle there for Jake Levine, so they have to reset. And now on the move is Gary. Kansai Gary has a little room, takes a bounce shot, and that one will go out of play. And it's still UT ball. It's great to see them controlling the ball like this, but at some point you want to get a quality shot on goal.
Yeah, the game flow has slowed down dramatically right now. I think that favors Tampa because they're sporting a 3-goal lead. Assumption's going to have to up the urgency at a certain point, but right now Tampa dictating the tempo.
Although Assumption able to cause a turnover there, and so they catch a break, and all that UT work for nothing. As this is Brett Jennings for Assumption. Jennings hits the Tampa line, drops it off for Anthony D'Angelo, and Jennings will head off the field, and out steps Mike Leonard. Now it's on the far side of the field, and the Greyhounds still looking for their first goal of this third quarter.
Yeah, it's been a testament to the transition defense by the Spartans. Elite athleticism, head on a swivel, prowess. Nothing coming easy right now for Assumption. They started out the game hot, but right now they're ice cold.
And Connor, you mentioned about the clock. While there's still lots of lacrosse left here, still 4:53 to go in just the third quarter, not to mention still having the entire fourth quarter to go. You do look at the fact that the Greyhounds only had 1 goal in the second quarter, and the fact that they haven't found the back of the net yet here. And if you're head coach Guy Borden, you're saying we need 1, if not 2 or 3, sooner than later. And although there's lots of time left to play, you get discouraged. Where has the offense gone since the end of the first quarter?
Yeah, looking for answers is Assumption. Right now, Tampa doing just fine on the defensive side of the ball.
And how about Brian Karn in relief? 5 saves. He's only allowed 1 goal.
Yeah, he's the unsung hero, really, because he came in at a game where the Spartans were trailing. If he came in and gave up a few more goals, Assumption could easily have built a strong lead. As we mentioned, Karn again with another amazing save and loses it.
Nice play there by Dan Farrell for the Greyhounds.
And sloppy play right there. Spartans getting a little too fancy with the ball. Got to protect it at this stage.
And so the Greyhounds back in possession after all, as we hit the 11-minute mark of the third quarter here. Assumption wants to make a few player changes. And off goes Anthony D'Angelo, and out steps Brett Jennings. They do give it to Jennings, a junior from Montgomery, New York, 6'4", 215 pounds. And here with it now is Farrell. Dan Farrell bumped by Hunter Van Horn. Good speed by Van Horn, gets the stick up a little high, and there's one that's going to go out of play. And Farrell, I think, is looking back to the official, saying, yeah, listen what the broadcaster said. That stick came up a little too high. No call?
Yeah, the Spartans will definitely take it. Maybe getting a little bit too comfortable that time. As we see, wow, what a play. Tampa gets it. Working hard for that ball. That's been the name of the game in the second half. Not a lot of offense, but sound, fundamental defense.
And with it now for UT, Ronnie Scholl crosses midfield. Scholl sends it over on the far side. Colin White up for Moshe McGraw as Matt Vetter steps on the field. And he receives the pass, and Dom Mazza steps out as well, and now he receives it from Vetter. And Mazza, as Owen Peterson III was daring him to take that lane, wouldn't fall for it. And now Mazza one-on-one. Mazza backs up a couple steps, sends it over to Moshe McGraw to Matt Vetter. Vetter with a nice spin move and gets a pick there from Moshe McGraw. And Matt Vetter will carry on as he jogs down towards the corner. And now a little extra speed. Vetter on the run. Vetter still with it. Looking for an opening, and now thought he had an open teammate but threw it away. Dom Mazza couldn't get to it, and good hustle there by the Greyhounds as Trevor Wilcox comes up with it. So a turnover by the Spartans as we're down to 2 minutes and 12 seconds left in this third quarter.
Points off of turnovers will be a key factor if Assumption wants to get in this ball game. 2 minutes left in the third period. You're listening on the Sunshine State Digital Network. Spartans, they were down 4-1 on a 7-1 goal run over the last two periods.
And with it now, Anthony D'Angelo. D'Angelo being checked by Moshe McGraw. And a nice move there by Travis Reed. Sends it back to D'Angelo. Up top now, Mike Leonard. Leonard being watched by Moshe McGraw. Leonard is bumped, sends a pass over, shot comes, and Brian Karn saw that one all the way off the stick of Anthony D'Angelo and sends it up ahead. Here comes UT in transition, Dylan Carter. Carter pushes it ahead.
Some slight overcast at the Namoli Family Athletic Intramural Complex. What a save by Karn. Spartans with it now.
Colin White sends a pass into the far corner. Kilkowski sending it over for Jake Levine. Levine has a little burst of speed. Levine comes out in front. His shot missed. Goes out of play, and possession will stay with the Spartans as we're down to 1:01 left here in the third quarter. And now Kilkowski starts it back. Sends a pass over. That's Colin White on the far side. And hold on, we have a whistle. Stopping play with 56.1 seconds left, and the two officials.
And there goes Guy Burton's hat. He knows that there is some discussion.
All three officials coming together now to discuss this call.
Krispy Kreme for generations. Krispy Kreme serving delicious donuts and coffee. Stop by for an original glazed donut or another variety paired with a hot coffee. Visit our nearest Krispy Kreme on West Kennedy. Krispy Kreme is serving hot donuts now.
In behind the Assumption net now over to the far side. And they push it up top. Kansai Gary for Chris Cox. This time down to 34 seconds left here in the third.
Yes, Spartans and Coach Whipple content with taking the last shot.
Kansai Gary looking at that scoreboard, watching the time countdown as Chris Cox on the run. I think that pass was intended for Luke Curran. It doesn't matter. Still in the stick of a Spartan anyways, and specifically Jake Levine. And now up top with Gary again. 15 seconds left. Kansai Gary on the move, and a nice save made by Colby Hamway. And the Spartans get the rebound. They're going to have to get a shot off quickly as the time is down to 6 seconds. They have it in behind the net. Kilkowski working, takes a shot, and Hamway got a piece of that one. And the rebound is loose in front of him. A bunch of them battle for it, but the horn goes to end the third quarter of play with UT in the lead 8-5. They outscore Assumption 2-0 in that third quarter.
Drama brewing as we approach the final 15 minutes left to play. Spartans clinging to an 8-5 lead. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Sunshine State Digital Network.
And for the Assumption Greyhounds, as I mentioned, starting the season significantly on the road, they will remain here in Central Florida, playing again on Thursday night when they play over at St. Leo. And then they continue with 2 more games on the road at Post and at St. Michael's before starting the home portion of their 2019 season on Saturday, March 23rd against American International. That will be a 1 p.m. face-off. And for the Spartans, I mentioned they're in a 3-game homestand. They'll take on North Greenville on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. And then they go on the road for 1 game before returning home for 4 more here at the Namoli Family Athletic and Intramural Complex. Right now in an 8-5 lead against the visiting Assumption Greyhounds. And you can't really put your finger on one specific hero for the home team because of the balanced scoring attack. Obviously, we have mentioned the great performance in relief in goal by Brian Karn, who has made 7 saves in just over 28 minutes of play. He's only allowed 1 goal. And at the other end of the field, it's been a busy afternoon for sure for Colby Hamway, who's had to make 13 saves as UT is out shooting Assumption 21-14. And the Spartans definitely in control in the face-off circle. They've won 12 of the 15 draws thus far.
Yeah, and the player who has stood out to me for the first 3 periods is Matt Vetter. He has accumulated half of the team's assists, 2 of the 4. The senior from Doylestown, Pennsylvania, has also had a few hockey assists where it's not going to show up in the stat sheet, but creating offense and getting the Spartans in the position they need to be to win this game. 8-5. But you mentioned it's been a team game all around, so I fully expect a few more Spartans to make their presence known. Here we go, last 15 minutes at the Namoli Stadium.
And they put it into play, do the Greyhounds, in the person of Brett Jennings, who sends a pass over. Now quickly they move it down behind the UT net, and it restores up top with Brett Jennings as a penalty has been called against the Spartans. Jake Levine with a 1-minute penalty assessed against him, which is why you saw that there was no face-off to start the fourth quarter.
So an extra man now for the Greyhounds. It's the second penalty of the game for the Spartans. The Greyhounds have amassed 3.
And this is, that goes out of play. That was Trevor Kennedy who started it, and chasing it over on the far side to put it back into play is Dan Farrell. And now it's back with Kennedy again. This pass over for Peterson. And now Brett Jennings with it. Quick passing and a nice move, getting inside. Shot, scores! A power play goal for Travis Reed. And the Greyhounds are finally back in the goal column to cut Tampa's lead to 8-6, 45 seconds into this fourth quarter.
And if Assumption wants to win this game, Travis Reed has got to be the guy to get going. His 17th goal on the year. He's been held in check today. Only 2 goals thus far. Spartans doing a fantastic job. It's obviously a whole different ballgame when you have an extra man advantage, which allows the patience and the execution by Assumption to narrow the deficit to 2.
An unassisted goal as we now get the face-off at midfield once again between Ross Dickerson and Connor Reed. And Connor Reed coming away with that one, so the Greyhounds not only get a goal but get the next possession by controlling the face-off as they send it in behind the UT net. That's Travis Reed over on the far side to Farrell. And now here's a long shot coming. They score! Owen Peterson the third. And how about that? All of a sudden, Assumption, who was quiet, held off the scoreboard in the third quarter, has climbed to within 1. It's 8-7 1 minute, 5 seconds into this fourth quarter.
Well, what Coach Guy Burton said in the huddle leading into the fourth period is the Greyhounds are not going to go down quietly. We have a brand new game, 8-7, and all of a sudden, Spartans are in a sense of urgency right now to get back in the momentum category.
And I imagine that on the home sideline, that head coach Rory Whipple has to say, come on, guys. This is our stadium. This is our game. We're in the lead. Let's play Spartans lacrosse.
Dickerson fighting for it.
Two combatants.
Got a whistle, got a hold. Possession to the Greyhounds. Here we go on the move.
Quickly sprinting Adam Becker sends a pass ahead. And Assumption here standing up on the backs of their necks as UT was able to come up with it. A good hustle there by Sam Collingwood.
Wow, yeah, with the long stick getting a piece of that pass.
Quickly come the Spartans. A dropped pass there intended for Kilkowski.
Jump ball. I don't know if anyone saw it in the sun. Still loose.
And 6 of them battle on the far sideline. And the ground ball still not picked up. And I was about to say finally is by UT. And now we do have a whistle, a push called against UT. And so possession back to the Greyhounds once again.
Spartans bench looking for an explanation, but Ed Feaster all over it with the call.
Anxious moments for the Spartans. They need a strong defensive stand here as Anthony D'Angelo sends a pass ahead, and now the Greyhounds send it behind the Spartans' net and send it right back out on the far side of the field back to Farrell again. Stepping out on the field, Trevor Wilcox along with Brett Jennings as heading off is Anthony D'Angelo, and here's Jennings with it now. Jennings sends it back over for Owen Peterson III, who we just saw score that 7th goal for Assumption. And now here's Trevor Wilcox trying to go one-on-one, beats his man, takes a shot, scores! How about that? Trevor Wilcox, as they complete the comeback, do the Greyhounds. They were down by 8-5 after 3 quarters, and they have the first 3 goals of this fourth quarter. And mind you, 3 goals in 2.5 minutes.
And 3 goals on 3 Tampa turnovers. Tampa now has 10 for the game, and you're getting reminiscent a little bit of the Adelphi game, but still plenty to go. 12.5 left in this ball game. 8-8. Starts with getting a stop and then transition offense for Tampa.
And we're glad to have you watching as always, but all the more reason to come out and see these games in person. Some real exciting lacrosse played here at the Namoli Family Athletic and Intramural Complex as Ross Dickerson wins the faceoff, keeps it himself, takes it right in front of his own sideline, and now sprints down into the Assumption end of the field, puts on the brakes, and leaves a pass there for Colin White. White sends a pass back for Kilkowski deep behind the Assumption net, and now returns it to Colin White, and he'll play catch a little bit with Kilkowski, who starts to head the other way, and Kilkowski is going to send it back up top and let Matt Vetter quarterback it from here, as it's over now with Dom Mazza. Over to Moshe McGraw. Moshe McGraw looks like he wants to go one-on-one there with Anthony D'Angelo. Now pulls it. Oh, hit the goalpost.
Unbelievable if you're a Tampa fan. Can't get one to fall your way.
Matt Vetter wants a shot, takes it, and that one is deflected and picked up by his teammate Colin White. So the Spartans able to hold on here with this possession as Dom Mazza wants a crack at it. Mazza takes a long shot, and I think that Hamway got a piece of that one. And the Greyhounds are going to take over now as Mazza whacked at it, and the official blows the whistle for play to resume on an Assumption possession here as they give it back to Mike Leonard. Leonard over for Brett Jennings. Leonard's going to go off the field, as is Anthony D'Angelo, and out steps Owen Peterson III, as does Trevor Wilcox, and Wilcox receives the pass, sends it back over for Peterson.
Currently fireworks, Greyhounds and Spartans, 10.5 to go. It's going to come down to who makes a play late.
Trevor Wilcox takes it deep to the near corner, one-on-one against Matt Vetter, has a step on him, sends a pass for Peterson on the doorstep, score! Nice passing And Johnny on the spot was Travis Reed, backdoor to put that one in behind Brian Karn. And wow, the Greyhounds all the way back and then some. They trailed 8-5, and they now lead 9-8.
The vision by Owen Peterson III. I did not think he saw. We had a perfect view of the cutting Reed from our standpoint, but I don't know how Peterson III saw it. Karn, he got his eyes glaring, and then sneaking behind him was the cutting Travis Reed, and Assumption is on a 4 consecutive goal outrage right now. 9-8, 10:26 to go. Spartans just trying to get anything going their way.
And all of a sudden, Travis Reed, who entered the game leading the team in points with 27, he has 5 points now with 3 goals and 2 assists. And UT in possession says we need to get this thing tied back up and take the momentum away from Assumption, as in behind the Greyhounds net, that's Harry Kilkowski. Kilkowski joined back there by Colin White. He gives it to White, now back to Kilkowski once again.
Gary, Curran, and Cox all sub in for the Spartans as we're under 10 to go.
And that is Chris Cox with it now, skipping across the line. Cox has a little bit of room, sends a pass over, shot coming off the stick of Curran, and gaining some confidence. You can tell Colby Hamwee as he makes that save and outlets it as Assumption on the run now. Anthony D'Angelo, he's finally chased down by Luke Curran, sends it ahead instead to Dan Farrell, and they'll move it in behind the Spartan net as Travis Reed sends it back to Farrell. And now up top they slow things down a bit as D'Angelo gives that one up to Jason Hughes.
I've been extremely impressed by Hamway in that he's only given up 8 goals on 21 shots on goal, 13 saves against this continuity Tampa offense. It's been a pleasure to watch him slow them down, but Tampa need to stop here on defense.
D'Angelo sends a pass down behind the net. Now here's a long shot coming from Hughes. He scores! Jason Hughes. Wow. 10-5 now, Assumption. They are red hot.
And it's interesting how the game of lacrosse works. Assumption started the game out tremendously, and now they're finishing the game just as. Spartans in the mid part took complete control, but right now, all of the momentum favoring Assumption. They're first to double digits, 10-8.
Jason Hughes with his 3rd goal of the season.
An unlikely source, but what a time to get his 3rd goal of the year.
As he joins the scoring parade, although there are 2 Greyhounds with 3 goals each, being Will Cox and Travis Reed. And now on the ensuing faceoff, it's controlled by Dickerson, and Ross Dickerson has to fight his way past a check from Connor Reed. And Dickerson sends a pass down into the corner for Colin White, and Ross Dickerson's job is finished on this shift as he'll go off. And out steps Jake Mosher-McGraw along with Dom Mazza. That's Vetter with it right now and gives it to Mazza. Over to Mosher-McGraw. And the Spartans looking for anyone to step up at this point. Mosher-McGraw scores!
Grip it and rip it, Jake Mosher-McGraw. What a time for the Spartans to strike 10-9.
His 2nd goal of the game. And now the Spartans can exhale just a little bit.
And this game has been so back and forth, Bruce. 8:20 to go. It feels like a lifetime right now. Oh my, what is going to happen? Both teams coming together, trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and on the one side you say there's still plenty of time left, 8:20, and then on the other hand, with the way this game has gone, you say, oh no, there's only 8:20 left.
Right, yeah.
It's only a 1-goal game, though. The Spartans don't need to get a boatload here, just need to get one. And Dickerson battling there and was about to come away with it, but nonetheless, a flag is thrown. Gavin Perry with it for UT, so we're going to have a penalty called against the Greyhounds.
I believe it's going to go against Becker. He took out Ross Dickerson as he did a tumble in a 360. Spartans looking to get an advantage. We're under 8 to go in the 4th.
And now here in the near corner, it's Colin White sends it back over for Kilkowski. His pass on the far side to Matt Vetter. Vetter up top to Mosher-McGraw. And over here to Dom Mazza. And Dom Mazza is one of the goal scorers. He does have a single tally so far this afternoon. Takes a shot and a save made there as Hamway has to cover up, sitting down in his goal crease. And so it's 7:32 left in the fourth quarter and a 10-9 Greyhounds lead. We're going to get a penalty called now against Assumption, and that'll open the door for UT with a chance to make it a brand new ball game. You might as well make it 0-0 at that point if they're able to convert, as we await the call here. And it looks like it's going to be against.
Yeah,
1 minute penalty.
Got sandwiched by Taft and Becker. The call goes against Taft. Spartans with a minute advantage right now.
And so here they are as Mazza has it up top. Matt Vetter over for Moshe McGraw. Quickly back to Mazza. Takes a long shot, and it looked like Hamway got a piece of that one as it goes out of play. And just below the scoreboard, putting it back into play is Colin White for UT. White, they started back up top again with Mazza. Over for Matt Vetter. Looked like he wanted to shoot. Mazza flips it over for Moshe McGraw. Quick passing by the Spartans. That's White. Back to Moshe McGraw. Looking, gives it to Mazza. Mazza to Vetter. Right back and over to the other side to Moshe McGraw. Quickly to Vetter. Wanted to shoot. And stepping in quickly, and then time to deny him was Sean Laughlin for Assumption. They score! The Spartans tie it with a power play goal, and it's officially a brand new ball game as we are all tied at 10.
Colin White ties us up. How about that? Good for his third goal of the game. He's got a hat trick. 6:47 to go.
And Colin White now with 9 goals on the season. And the assist goes to Matt Vetter. And so a huge sigh of relief on the Spartans sideline. And Coach Guy Borden has his work cut out for him on the Assumption sideline so that the reaction over there isn't, oh no.
Mentioned Vetter a little bit earlier. His third assist, how about that? Add a goal for him. He's having himself quite a day. Tampa's not done yet. 6:40, 10-10. What a ball
Dickerson
game.
was able to chase it down off the faceoff and got it over to Dylan Carter as Carter goes off the field, as will Dickerson. Vetter steps out. And now also coming out onto the field will be Dom Mazza as UT in possession. What a seesaw game this has been, as it was 4-1 Assumption after the first quarter, and then UT scored 7 of the next 8 goals. And it's been a high-scoring fourth quarter, the highest-scoring quarter thus far in the game, and there's still 5:57 to go. There's been 7 goals between the two teams combined in this quarter, 5 for the Greyhounds and 2 for UT. And the Spartans have it right now. Moshe McGraw on the run. Moshe McGraw is bumped, still has it, and he's going to leave a pass instead for Matt Vetter. Vetter with Mazza to his right. Vetter's going to try the other side. Now stops, takes a shot, and again Hamway gets a piece of that one, deflects it out of bounds. Possession still with UT with 5:30 to go here in the fourth quarter.
This game has been everything it's lived up to be. 5:30 to go. Drama brewing right now here at Namoli Complex. What can the Spartans do? It's Dom Mazza working the X in a 1-4 formation with him. Here we go, spin.
And he's got all kinds of moves, and let's see where it gets him out in front. And they'll send it back in behind the net for Kilkowski. A pass, long shot coming from Moshe McGraw, and that one goes out of play as well. The crowd below us reacting. They thought it went in. UT still has the ball as they put it back in play quickly. Jake Levine with it, and Levine will go back behind the Greyhounds net, deep behind the Greyhounds net, I should say, and now starts his move. Fakes a pass and now takes a shot and doesn't know where it is. Hamway got a piece of that one, and he finally covers up in the goal crease as knocking on the door for UT was Colin White. And so back come the Greyhounds quickly. Racing down there is Anthony D'Angelo, and a whistle. We're going to have A timeout presumably called by the Greyhounds.
It will be a guy poured in timeout as we have 4:38 to go. Bruce, what a game it has been. Oh my goodness. Right now, it's crunch time. So both coaches, speaking to their teams, don't want to cave in right now and make that critical mistake. But who is going to step up? I think it's got to be Travis Reed right now getting the call for the Greyhounds. The campus bookstore, Barnes & Noble Bookstore, has all your needs in one spot. Stop by and grab the latest UT gear, snacks on the run, as well as thousands of accessories that fulfill your everyday needs. Open Monday through Saturday, located on the first floor at the Vaughn Center, or shop online, www.bncollege.com.
And I've said so many times in the last few minutes, Colby Hamway gets a piece of that one, and indeed he has made 17 saves thus far in the game. A very, very busy afternoon for the senior goaltender, and it really stands out as well. The face-offs still very, very heavily in favor of the Spartans. 17-5. They lead in that quarter, or excuse me, in that category, and the timeout has expired. So Assumption coming back out on the field with 4:38 to play in the fourth quarter.
And I look for Assumption to go through Travis Reed, Trevor Wilcox, and Peterson III here as the Spartans look to lock him up.
And Dan Farrell will put it in play on the far side of the field under the watchful eye of Luke Robidoux for UT. And now Farrell starts his move. Farrell, oh, a nice play defensively there. The Spartans with a nice switch, and there's a shot coming. That one goes out of play, but a nice job there by Gavin Perry for UT defensively.
Yeah, Dan Farrell delivered the bull dodge on that play, took out a Spartan defender.
And Travis Reed puts it back in from the near quarter. And he's being watched back there defensively for UT by Jack Tyrell. And Reed wants to go one-on-one. Tyrell stays with him. Reed finally gets a shot off. That one's going to go wide and out of play. And possession will go over to the Spartans.
How about the hustle by Brian Karn? How about that hustle?
And the Greyhounds sideline agonizing over that one. And so UT, let's see how they respond to it as they send it over to the far side of the field as Luke Robidoux will start it up.
Certainly questionable in that foot race, but Fitzsimons credits the hustling senior Brian Karn, earns a much-needed possession as we're south of 4 minutes to go in regulation.
Hunter Van Horn for Kilkowski. Kilkowski pushes it into the far corner. And now Jake Levine starts his move and sends it back up top for Matt Vetter as Dom Mazza steps on, and he'll receive the pass. And over to his right to Jake Mosher McGraw right in front of his own sideline. Mosher McGraw, he has 2 goals this afternoon. And a spin move there by Matt Vetter. Puts his shoulder down, has a little bit of a lane, takes a shot at a great save there by Colby Hamway. And now starts it off to his left and approaching midfield just below us, Adam Becker.
Colby
3 minutes,
Hamway.
10 seconds left.
Some of these saves he's played, wow, what a play.
Adam Becker carries on for the Greyhounds. Becker's going to take it to the corner as Matt Vetter goes back there to watch him for the Spartans, and he has it directly behind goaltender Brian Karn. Now a pass, and Peterson makes a pass, and here comes a long shot, and Karn got a piece of that one on the shot from Brett Jennings. The Greyhounds able to get the rebound. Here's Farrell, a quick pass, and now a shot, scores! Travis Reed. And the Greyhounds go back into a 1-goal lead. It's 11-10 with 2:37 left in the fourth quarter.
It is difficult to keep Travis Reed off of the scoreboard. That is his 4th goal of the game, 19th of the season. And sometimes against a gamer like that, only thing you can do is tip your cap, because that was an extremely difficult shot to stop.
Colby Hamway, along with Travis Reed, carrying the team on their back. Hamway with 18 saves. Reed has 4 goals and 3 assists. And now an important face-off as the 2 combatants go at it, and possession is awarded to UT. Ross Dickerson says, "Thank you very much. I'm going to go to the sideline." As play carries on, Kilkowski with it for the Spartans. And now we're going to get a whistle and a timeout will be called on the Spartan sideline by head coach Rory Whipple with 2:28 left here in the fourth quarter, and his team behind 11-10.
And Bruce, I think what the Spartans have to do, Coach Whipple, draw up a quick hitter for Colin White. This has been his calling card today. He's got a hat trick. It's been his game. Get Matt Vettert the ball, Moshe McGraw alongside him. Get a series of cutters. Let it operate. See what you can do. 2:28, pivotal point right now. And if you're an Assumption fan, it's been Colby Hamway. You just got to hope, I think, for another massive save in his regard. Hope to get it, work some clock at that stage. But wow, right now, game is tightening up for the Spartans. Only 2:28.
And on the other sideline, if you're head coach Guy Borden for Assumption, you're saying, guys, we didn't travel here all the way from Massachusetts for a moral victory. Let's hang on here. Let's play some strong defense. Let's keep them off the board. Let's go get another one of our own, and let's get out of here with the victory.
Yes, Spartans look to stop the potential upset bid. This Massachusetts team is on a mission. As we look ahead for the Tampa Spartans, Bruce mentioned they'll host North Greenville on the 6th. Then they go to Lindenwood in St. Louis. Lindenwood's currently ranked 14th in the nation. So that'll be another test for the Spartans on the road. That'll be on Saturday. And then they get a nice 4-game homestand, Westminster, Colorado Mesa, another team getting national recognition. And then you get into conference play, Embry-Riddle and Florida Tech.
So the timeout has expired and both teams are back out on the field, and you can feel the tension here in the stands at the Namoli Family Athletic and Intramural Complex. Obviously, nobody has left here yet, as it's been a very exciting afternoon of lacrosse. And this is Dom Mazza with it for UT. Sends it over on the far side of the field to Colin White. And UT on the move now as they put it in behind the Assumption net. There's a pass for Moshe McGraw. Takes a long shot, and handling that one easily, Colby Hamway, as the clock becoming a factor, down to officially just 2 minutes left here in the fourth quarter. And the Spartans will have to press here. And a nice attempt made at such by Colin White. But carrying on ahead, the Greyhounds, as Mike Leonard runs it down and sends a pass into the corner to Travis Reed.
Spartans must be aggressive, try to force a turnover, and if your Assumption play keep away, and if a collapse in the defense, then you take advantage and maybe put a dagger in the goal.
Travis Reed deep in the far corner, being watched loosely by Jack Tyrell. Reed opts for Dan Farrell. Farrell on the move now, being chased by Luke Robidoux, and Farrell will take it up top. He's being watched by Jake Moshe McGraw. We're down to 1 minute, 15 seconds to go here in the fourth quarter. Farrell looked like he was going to start his move, and instead he's going to take it in behind the net, and being chased there by Austin Sheppers. And you can see the Tampa defense clamping down.
Only 15 on the shot clock, so the Greyhounds will have to make a run at it at least, as we're under a minute.
And there it is. Oh, Karn gets a piece of it and settles it. And so the Spartans with an opportunity here, as there's 49 seconds left in the fourth quarter. And Austin Sheppers with it on the far side of the field, up ahead to Kilkowski. And we're going to have another timeout called here, as obviously Coach Rory Whipple, an important time for his team. They want to make sure that they get just the right play drawn up. And again, they're going to have to do so against a goaltender in Colby Hamway, who's made 19 saves. He's really kept his team in this game.
Well, that's an exceptional timeout by Coach Rory Whipple, and that's why it makes him one of the best in the game. Can't take the timeouts in your pocket home with you. They don't do you any good. Might as well use it here. 42 seconds. Drop another quick hitter. I liked in the last timeout, Moshe McGraw came around the left side on a curl. Got a quality look. It was just Hamway made a better play. Sometimes that happens. If you're the Spartans, continue to push the right buttons, see what you can do. And if you're an Assumption fan, got to get a stop.
And head coach Guy Borden, I'm sure, is telling his troops, guys, I believe in you. This game is ours. We're 42 seconds away. Let's play Greyhounds defense. Let's take the W and get ourselves out of here. And I'm sorry to the Assumption fans, but obviously this would have to be classified in the category of upset, simply because Tampa, the number 9 ranked team, so an unranked Greyhounds team, 42.3 seconds away from pulling out a victory here in West Central Florida.
it would definitely be a mini upset bid, but what I like is in the early going of the seasons, the rankings only mean so much. A lot still to be determined by both teams. Obviously, the Greyhounds have shown they belong in the same field as the Spartans. It's been a pleasure to have you with us. Bruce Wozniak, I'm Connor Moore. 21 goals have been scored thus far, and we're not done yet.
And UT, let's see what Coach Rory Whipple drew up during that timeout. They used every second of that timeout, and they're going to put it back into play on the far side of the field in the person of Jake Levine. And the official's whistle restarts it, and now this is Matt Vetter for Moshe McGraw. This is Dom Mazza now on the near side. Mazza looking for an opening, trying to go one-on-one there against Mike Leonard, and it's Matt Vetter. They may look to one of the veterans. Vetter has a lane, takes a shot, and Hamway got a piece of that one and knocks it out of play. Possession remains with the Spartans with 23.4 seconds left. And Kilkowski on the other end of the spectrum, the freshman, putting it back into play. Kilkowski looks, gives it to Mazza. Mazza takes a shot. That one sails high and out of play. Down to just 9.3 seconds left.
Well, the Spartans are going to have one more look at it.
It's going to be Matt Vetter that's going to put it in. Needless to say, it's now or never. Here comes Vetter on the move. Vetter a pass over and dropped. Colin White sends it over. Moshe McGraw takes a bounce shot. It goes out of play and the time expires. And the Greyhounds run out on the field and celebrating by mobbing goaltender Colby Hamway as they've pulled off the upset, an 11-10 victory over the Tampa Spartans.
Well, it was a well-earned victory for Assumption. The Spartans, they fought to the end, and you had it look there, almost. But the Greyhound defense prevails. They improve to 2-1 on the season. Spartans fall to 2-3. And wow, what a game all around. Exciting lacrosse being played for a full 60 minutes.
And when you hear players talk about stats and it doesn't mean anything if we don't get the W, there's an example as Colin White had a 3-goal performance this afternoon to lead UT, but his dropped pass there certainly is going to haunt him for a while. And on the other end of the field, wow, a big outing this afternoon from Travis Reed, 4 goals and 3 assists. And how about the play of goaltender Colby Hamway as he makes 19 saves to give his team this huge road victory against number 9 Tampa. And as Connor mentioned, Tampa now falls under 500 to 2-3, while Assumption improves to 2-1. If you've been watching from an Assumption point of view, thank you very much. And your team's next game will come up on Thursday night over in Central Florida at St. Leo. And for the Spartans, they will remain home. And on Wednesday night, they'll host North Greenville at 7 p.m. We will have that game for you here. So for Connor Moore, I'm Bruce Wozniak. Thanks for watching. Have a good afternoon.